Welcome to the Premier League Terra Mystica final. I'm MrFickles, and I have the pleasure of being joined here today by Barnawal. How you doing, Barnawal?
Hey Fickles, I'm doing great. I can't wait this game.
Yeah.
Super exciting finals. The closest I think we've seen so far in terms of the standings going into the finals. We've seen some of the possibilities on the Discord, but there's just so many ways this could play out. So I can't wait to be a fan for the evening and just watch it all unfold.
Yeah, totally. So this is the fifth game. So there's five players, and each one has a bye week. So Simone B is the one who's in his bye week, but he still has a chance to win because he's currently in first place. So it's pretty exciting in terms of how it's poised. Let's take a quick look at the scenarios here. So for anyone who hasn't been following the details, or we were just kicking around. So four different people can still win the Premier League, which is pretty exciting. So you can sort of see the different scenarios here. And MattTheLesser is kind of in the driver's seat. So if he finishes first or second, he's the champion. But by him finishing last game, it really opened the door. And so Hefaistos can be champion if he gets first and Matt doesn't finish second. Same with deranged. And then if WebberRage wins today, that's the path to Simone B winning the champion. And I know WebberRage Eddie the Cat would definitely like to go out with a bang. And I think it'd be pretty cool to play spoiler and like be the one who can't actually win the championship, come in and win the last day. And I think that would be pretty cool. And then there's a couple crazy scenarios. So Hefaistos pointed this out. Do you see this at the bottom? If Hefaistos and Deranged tie for first and MattTheLesser's third, then there's a four-way tie for first. Which that would just be amazing.
Yeah, that would be insane. What are the odds of that happening? Like, what do you think the chances of that happening? Like one in 50, maybe
lower than that. Lower than that. Yeah.
Lower. Yeah. That's because MattTheLesser has to finish third with them tying too. That also adds like a little wrinkle to it.
What's
maybe
the
one in 100.
I think even just the probability that they tie for first has to be pretty low, right? Because just tying is pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah, we need a mathematician in the chat to figure this out.
Yeah. But I put this up so it's something we can all sort of keep an eye on in the background as this game unfolds. It should be fun. So, and I know Deranged is on his way home on the train. So one thing to point out for folks is three of these guys are in Europe, and two are West Coast U.S. And so I think it's like a huge time difference, and so it's very difficult for them to coordinate time. So I think it's maybe like is it like an 8-hour time difference, 9-hour time? I think it's a 9-hour time difference total between them, because this is midnight for the European players, and I think it's like 3 p.m. for the West Coasters. So yeah, just kind of crazy. So Deranged is racing home, and so the game will be underway in a bit. We'll let them take some time. Hey, could you say a little bit about the tournament coming up? I thought we could do a little bit of a plug for the 2v2 tournament because the deadline for registration is the 25th. So we're kind of in the final push here. This is Claybo's organizing. So yeah, can you tell me a little bit about this and anyone out there why they might want to check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 2v2 tournament is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You're with a partner and playing another team of two in a standard like 4-person game of Terra Mystica. But you're working together with your partner to try to get the highest combined score between the two teams. And you can play at all levels. There's high level players, there's low level players playing. It's all just kind of a for fun tournament, but it's a really entertaining format. It's similar enough to standard Terra Mystica that we can all understand what's happening, but the 2v2 aspect really changes the strategy enough that you see a lot of novel things in the tournament. You see kind of weird faction teams that start in weird places on the board. You see a lot more aggressive play towards the other team because it's like a net sum game. Like whatever the other team loses is your gain. And so it's a bit of a different style, I guess, than regular Terra Mystica, but it still is the same game. So it's really like I played in the first season and it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend anyone to like either to register or at the very least follow along and see what it's like. You can also play a practice game. There's usually a bunch of people that are looking for some 2v2 practice in advance of the tournament. And yeah, I don't know. I went into the first season kind of thinking I'd try this. This is a novelty. It'll be interesting. And honestly, I was kind of blown away with how much I got into it from just the one season, and I think a lot of us did.
That's
and
cool.
There's some very like exciting teams. I think the big headline team is Team Deep Cube, which is Deep Finesse and Nerd Cube playing together. So I think we all kind of can't wait to see how they play. But yeah, there's just lots of good players and lots of teams that'll be fun to watch in the tournament.
Yeah.
And then one last thing I should add is that you can actually listen into the chats of the teams that are playing. So each like pair will have their own chat on Discord, and anyone is free to mute themselves and join in and listen in their chat. So it's really cool to kind of hear them talk about strategy. Sometimes hear players panic or struggle. That part's kind of fun too when it's not you. So it's just very entertaining all around.
Yeah. And you can like hop between the team rooms, right? Like, so you can like listen to one team and then, you know, like they're considering like triple digging some key hex for the other side. And then you can like switch to the other room and check to see if they know it's coming. It's pretty fun. So even if you just want to spectate, definitely check out that Discord. It's good fun. And I think it also like, you know, I think Terra Mystica has a cool, like, you know, a pretty supportive and social community, and I think 2v2 lends itself to that. You like hang out with a buddy and just like talk strategy, and I think it's a really neat innovation. And I don't love aggressive games, so I'm a viewer of the 2v2 tournament. I don't play in it, but oh my god, the auctions are insane for 2v2 because you don't know yet which the pair of factions are gonna be. So you're bidding, and so like you have to manage your bidding very carefully because you don't want to get stuck on a pair of factions that don't work together. So it's pretty interesting. It's very funky. So and it looks like we're close to ready here. Okay, so it looks like we've got our game ready to rock and roll.
Sweet.
And let's see what we got here. I think someone just needs to click start game perhaps, but we are just about ready. So Premier League final, and then we'll pull up the setup as soon as they get this going. Are you able to see the game yet, Barnawal?
No, I'm trying to find it. Yeah. I don't think it started yet.
Okay.
I see the game lobby, but I don't think it's.
Okay.
Did it start?
Okay.
I don't know.
I think.
Okay, it's starting right now.
Okay, perfect. Great. Let's check it out.
Okay, we have base map. I was really curious to see if they were gonna do the final game on base or if someone was gonna go wild with maybe doing some revised base or some lakes or something a bit crazy.
I love it.
Good question. Yep. So of those, the big building tile is definitely the most like game changing. With that being gone, certain factions are just much better with the big building tile and swarmlings than other factions, in particular. And the 6 coins is pretty influential too, but the big building tile in particular really alters the game when it's in play or when it's out of play. Hmm. Oh, okay, I can hear you, but yeah, I guess not the stream yet. Well, I can chat for a bit while you're figuring it out. So we were looking at the track and how there's a double dueling round 2 and 3, and then a semi kind of double TP round 4 and 6, which is like an interesting combo. Really favors, I guess you could say like the natural progression is to build up round one. Let's say double temple round one into spamming a bunch of dwellings out round 2 and 3, and then kind of building up later in the game. That seems like a really natural progression on this track. So if there's a double temple faction here, that would be really appealing. Also in conjunction with the dwelling pass bonus and the ship VP scoring bonus. Those two are typically very for double temple openings. So I'm intrigued to see if anyone aims for a double temple game plan here because I think it looks strong. And it's interesting that MattTheLesser put engineers to start. Ooh, I guess engineers open double temple actually, or they can do that no problem. But the early dwelling rounds aren't especially great for engineers in my experience. They're okay, but other factions I find are a little better with those. Although round 4 TPs into round 5 big buildings is a good combo for them. Into round 6 TPs as well. So I'm sure they can score a lot late in game.
Yeah. All right. I think I've got the microphone problem fixed. Uh, it's switching between doing production without casting, where you need everything, all the different scenes and Streamlabs. Like you need the microphone out of all the scenes for that, but then when you're casting, you need the microphone in. So apologies for that. Yeah, FireX. Once the game starts, you don't need. Derange has no resources right now, FireX. So once we move along, the layout will make more sense. Um, but yeah, so I got that fixed up. So it's interesting. So we're missing worker power and big building, which both have workers on them. But this is going to be a really worker flush game because everybody's going to be building dwellings in those in round 2-3. When you see this, do you think this is a game to? How are you reading like a track like this as someone like NG's?
Good question. I I don't think you'd want to overplay the track. Like I think as NGs you still want to get your second temple up. Like you'd still want to do like normal good things for NGs. Um, I don't know. It's not so clear to me how to play NGs, and especially now. So with Auren in the game in the fourth seat, with Green in the game, so that'll really kind of influence the game plan a lot. But
Wow.
I think you kind of just play as normal in a way. Like you want early spades, you want double to get 2 temples up quickly, and then just really focus on the later rounds and hitting those rounds hard would be my kind of general game plan.
Yeah.
Whoa! And sorry, just to interrupt, but Nomads got instantly bid down 20 points by Hefaistos.
Oh my
That's
god!
a big bid.
We just got the
So
final.
Matt bid down 10, then Hefaistos bid down another 10.
Wow! And so WebberRage put Auren into a sandwich between NGs and Mermaids. But the problem with this is that it's going to be actually very complicated analysis in this kind of situation. And when you jump Nomads forward like that, you have very little time to actually figure out what this will look like. The typical green against Mermaids situation is to put one on C. That like the standard typically is like you'll see Mermaids on D5 and green on C4 is pretty common. And you know, green's typically F4, C4 against Mermaids, with Mermaids D5, E4, of course. Do you think we'll see that here?
I think so.
Because
I had to look at the bonus tile breakdown.
Well,
I think maybe to confirm that.
The big thing that's weird here, that is very, very swingy, is that green being on E9 keeps NGs boxed in on F6, but then being on E9, if that means you're not on C4, that means Mermaids can beat you to C4 and into the north. So I think it's a very complicated position for Auren.
Yeah, this is gonna be really hard to play as Auren. As witches, you could always default to stronghold and at least have some flexibility with where you're going. But as in a color sandwich or any matchup, but Auren don't have that, so you really have to play Cold to here as Auren. I think. Like I feel like that's your only avenue of success. Like have a really big lead in the auction and try to dominate cults.
Mm.
You do start with a spade if you want it, or temp ship. So at least you do have first bonus choice as Auren, which I guess is like okay.
Yeah, but again, it's actually really
Hmm.
funny because if you start f4 c4 or f4 e9, it's possible that neither of any of those three have a single dig location easily available to you if engineers are on f6. So,
Yeah.
which is a really really funny puzzle. Um, yeah, these are the kind of setups where I'd like to do this turn based, and like
Yeah.
and
Really think it
analyze it
through.
for like 5 hours.
Yeah. Well, so maybe you take temp ship as Auren then. Maybe that's your default opening. Maybe the spade isn't that good, which gives us, if that's the case, that gives the spade to Nomads, which I
Even
think without a
better.
doubt they would take, and which would give them quite a good opening.
It's
And what
possible
that
that
leave? That leave Mermaids with a priest or power if they want double dig. They get to choose one or the other, and NGs take the other, I guess. Hmm.
yeah, I mean, unless yeah, there's got to be. I mean, here's the thing: is Auren could start f4 in one of the other two, and then like bridge to g3 and dig h4. I think Auren probably are on the spade anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're gonna get either like nobody wants the bridge. So like as a fallback, that still seems like a pretty good opening. Go temple, two new dwellings. Um, yeah, I just don't like this c4 e9 situation. Part of this that is frustrating from an auctioning perspective is like it's possible that like either NGs or Mermaids will be in a really good position because
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like whichever one of these
Yeah.
they don't pick really helps one relative to the other. And I just don't know which one. Like, I I worry a little bit about E9 because how good is E9 for you if you're gonna lose C4 as Auren? Like, does
Well,
it?
you could still. I mean, you probably beat Mermaids to like A10, right? To that hex. So if you want to go up there, you would still get that
But you're not even
from
getting like
E9.
you're not even getting leech from like black or brown up there.
You're not, but you get leech from NGs and Nomads in the center, and from NGs at E9 at least.
So
And
you
you could,
you I
I don't know,
think
you could double dig E10. That's a town spot there, and go to E11, go across there.
like
I
just
think I would start E9. It doesn't look good, but
yeah
like
okay
C4 would be better if Nomads were on B4, but you don't know if they're going to be there. But then they can also beat you to B5, so that's
yeah.
it's kind of conflicting any way you spin
I
it.
think they'll be on
Basically,
B4.
it's bad.
They'll be on B4 quickly, even if they don't start there because of the dwellings round 2-3. B4 is going to get built very, if not starting on it, I feel like it's going to get built very quickly.
Yeah, probably a good point. There's also temp ship in the game. There's ship VP, like all the early dwelling rounds. They have a lot of incentive to expand fast. Everyone does, but it shouldn't be hard for Nomads to do that with no color neighbor. So I think that's a good point.
I think the other thing that's interesting. So just to return to your earlier comment that like the path for Auren here, and we've really locked in on Auren because I think they're the biggest puzzle perhaps, but is that you were saying the path for them is to try to be the only cult faction. I feel like NGs are good value right now. Well, they're getting bid down now, just as I say that. So
Yeah, they
okay,
immediately start getting bid down
okay,
right when you say that,
yeah,
pretty quickly.
okay.
Um, yeah, so NGs probably start with they have a nice Earth spade at the start. So if they get a priest, they can just throw it to Earth. If they don't get a priest, they have guaranteed double dig. Although they also only have one, they may only have one useful hex to dig. The thing with NGs is no brown or black in the game means they get a lot less leech than they would like to. Because it's blue and yellow, neither really give NGs a ton of leech from my experience. I guess blue in the center will give. Well, and I guess Nomads will build in the center too. Maybe I'm off there. They'll get good leech at least early in the game. But they will miss some neighbors, I think, in the east.
Like after a little
But
bit.
at this auction value, yeah, I like NGs because Mermaids are already 12 points or now 11 points lower than them.
Okay.
And Engines can hit these late rounds hard, as we kind of talked about earlier. So yeah, well, as we talk about, they keep getting bid down, so now it's hard to say again.
um, so this bidding makes me think that they're expecting Auren on E9 and not C4. Um,
hmm
so, and I think I would guess Nomads on Priest because you get the Priest to Earth and you're getting a dig off the called No Fuss. Um, I mean, what if yeah, Nomads are interesting. So if you open, because like if you have a priest in hand, you could put it to earth, and then your round two, and you could open like fire one, priest to earth, and then your priest for round two goes to fire, and you're at the fourth step. Um, like that's pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's a good plan. It doesn't seem like really explosive or anything, but it seems really solid. And just with the color situation, they're already bid down to 12 points though. Like they're really heavily bid here. Um, which is it's fair. It's not like it's a pretty good setup for them. I guess it's not that unreasonable, but like it's low. I don't know if I'd bid them much lower than this compared to Auren. Like I know Auren are bad here, but they're not. I don't think
Yeah,
they're 40 points worse than Nomads bad here.
totally.
That seems like an extreme.
So like for
30
me,
points, even 30 points to me is pushing it. I think.
yeah, like
Not totally sure.
for me, I feel like with a 30-point lead, I feel like you could start F4, C4, and you see two really smooth town locations. I don't think Nomads aren't going stronghold early. So you start C4, double dig B5, A10, A11, and then you have an SA town, like two towns guaranteed. I don't know. 31 points is a lot to make up. I mean, and I know that involves not being on E9, but the appeal of E9 is slim to me. But I guess you said you like E9.
Yeah, I'm higher on E9 than you are. I think because I I don't know. I don't see a huge difference between C4 and E9 to me. Um, and I think however you do it as Auren, you're going tall here, right? Like you're not going to fight for any network points. I wouldn't think, unless NGs are cut off and can't do much or something like that. Um, I think no matter what, you're going for a tall culty game, and I think either starting spot is kind of like just as good for that. Well, C4 gives you the extra green hex, so maybe it's a bit better.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I see that. Yeah, I'm a little slow today. That makes
Um,
sense.
viewers, it sounds like I'm a little quieter than Barnawal. My mic is all the way up, but I can turn down Barnawal a bit, and then maybe if you turn your volume up, then we'll be balanced. I'm not totally sure. Let me know if that worked, or if I should go further on that. Okay. So, and our NG's in seat one. So, if we like Nomads on Priest, um, then we've got the Mermaids question that's kind of interesting. And then, of course, also related to that is whether NGs will take a power scroll to double dig round one or not. What's your read on that? Because that changes the way round one plays out quite a bit. On the other hand, round two is dwelling round, not round one, so which might push them a wee bit. Anyway, what's your analysis of how the scrolls for seats one and two, and how you expect double dig to break down?
Hey, I mean, the weird thing is that it really depends where Orange start, right? Like if Orange are on E9, do NGs really want double dig that badly? It's only going to give them. Well, it can give them two hexes in the east of the map, with no neighbors there. But I worry a bit about losing D4 if Nomads are really aggressive, kind of digging up there. Nomads might want a single dig round one anyways, and then they could beat you there with a cult dig round two. And then you're kind of trapped in as NGs if you don't prioritize D4. So NGs almost might prefer single dig anyways. I think I might do that as NGs. I think I might take a coin bonus or coin cult step maybe. I guess it's the best bonus. Or maybe the extra worker. I'm not totally sure.
Well,
And just take single dig first action and take D4.
so yeah, that's interesting. Well, the 4 coins in a cult step is interesting because it gets you to the fourth step on Earth with Earth 2, Earth 1, which is not the line you just said, but is also interesting.
No, but that's a better line, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a workers power. If you get a single dig and workers power action, then you can open 2 temples and a dwelling, and that would
Yes.
be really strong for
I
NGs.
I think I'd consider playing for that. Another possibility is if mermaids leave temp ship for you, is that you're actually digging D4 G3. So you're actually taking this green from Auren, which is really mean. And
Ooh,
I guess that's the reason to not be Auren.
ouch! Yeah, that would, oof, that would really hurt Orin a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the
uh,
reason to not be Auren here is if NGs start on temp ship. I don't want to say game over, but something along those lines.
it would be tough. Yeah, Orin would have to double dig G2, which is not easy to do, but you have to battle NGs for that hex. You may have to battle NGs for that hex as well, and then bridge down to what I6, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you could still make two. It wouldn't be good, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so looking at these auction values right now, do you like NGs? Like I think Nomads are I wouldn't bid Nomads anymore compared to Auren. Like I'm not convinced Nomads are a ton better than Mermaids here. Even
Yeah.
this gap, like I think is a lot.
Yeah.
And the gap from Nomads to NGs seems huge to me. I know Green's in the game for NGs, which is not good, but like I
Well,
don't know.
it's
Engineers are just a really good faction. That seems like
yeah,
a lot of points
I
for Nomads to make
agree.
up on NGs.
No, I agree. I like engineers here at these prices. Nomads is that's really low. Um, and I mean, so here's one thought exercise. Given the risk to G3 that we just spelled out for Auren could start temp ship just to circle back to this idea. If you start F4 E9 or something like that, or even C4 temp ship. I don't know because that puts pressure on mermaids. Um, and then I guess mermaids have to take ship points to double dig C3 first move, which is a bummer for them to have to do that. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I actually think that might be likely circling around on this. I
Yeah.
just remember now all the talk on the Discord at one point about the green versus gray kind of showdown on base map and how important like temp ship is in that. And I think if you're Auron, you probably just take temp ship to secure G3, right? Like I think that's more important than the spade. Like the spade is obviously a great bonus, but like it just seems a bit too risky to leave it up to chance. And
Yeah,
then so that
it's
yeah, that would be a big swing, like you said, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little sad. I guess the other thing you could do then is play for a priest action and see if you could get like there's some chance you could start F4 E9 on temp ship and mermaids use their digs on like C3 and F2 or something or E5 even. And then you grab priest and then on two ship grab C4 and G3. Um that's pretty good for a faction that has a big point lead.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing about these big point leads. Like, if you get any kind of good start or something that's better than expected, then you're
Yeah,
kind of off to the races. Like, it's pretty hard for someone to catch you when you have this.
right. And
So
then,
everyone's like assuming that Oren are gonna have an awful game here. That's how the auction's going,
yeah,
and
I
that's
think
probably. I mean, yeah, it's tough,
I,
but
I mean, if someone goes Auren and then starts on dig scroll, it, it'll be like really watching through fingers. Because, but if they start on temp ship, something's playable. Like with that,
hmm
like there's no way your game's over round one. Um, in terms of getting killed by NGs or something. But so why do you think they like mermaids over NGs here?
well, I think the big reason is because Yellow's in the game, because Nomads are in the game, and they're just such good friends in the west of the map. And with again no brown or black, like it's not quite as good for NGs in the east. So that kind of is a big discrepancy. And mermaids don't mind green as much as NGs do. Mermaids can still get a lot of structures out, really not be too bothered by green. Whereas green and gray just despise each other on base map. They can't stand each other. So it does make NGs worse for sure. And then lastly, I kind of think the setup is better for mermaids. Like you have the double water cult rewards, you got ship BP and dwelling BP in. Um, and like you don't have 6 coins, which is a good bonus for them. But I think ultimately it's a pretty good track and bonus setup for mermaids. And for NGs, we talked about the late track being good for them and the early track maybe not as good with the dwellings, but also the bonuses. NGs like those extra workers. They like worker power and the big building tile. I would say much more than mermaids do.
For sure.
And so missing those for NGs is like a little painful. Like you can work around it for sure, but you're kind of missing an option there with some extra workers that would really kind of kickstart NG's economy or really push them more than it would for mermaids if those bonuses were present.
Yeah, not having 6 coins or the 2 worker scroll is a pretty big hit to the econ provided on the scrolls in general. And then we see the power return round 2, which is a little underwhelming, and priest round 3 is a bit underwhelming. So like, yeah, it's very... Oh, baby! It is on.
Hey, here we go.
Okay.
The range jumped to Auren.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So we have Hefaistos at 6 points as Nomads. MattTheLesser 16 points as Mermaids. We have WebberRage at 25 as Engineers. And then Deranged with 40 points as Nomads.
Okay.
So yeah, we got this massive gap with Nomads being 34 points worse than Auren. That's the biggest gap I've seen in a long time, to be honest. That's huge. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I'm a sucker for the 40 faction, so I kind of like the deal for Auren in this game for Deranged, even though it's like a very tough path to play. I kind of think with like getting Temship to start, they can do enough here to make that work. But we'll see. And Deranged immediately goes C4, so he had a pretty clear plan in mind, I think, to pick C4 rather than E9.
Yeah.
Which is good for... Well, it's good for NGs, but they have no neighbor in the east. We didn't really mention... Well, we did mention that there's a lack of kind of brown and black, but we didn't mention that if green doesn't start E9, then NGs are kind of starved for neighbors in the east, and they may never get them this game.
Yeah.
So that's another little wrinkle.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, I'm just getting the player cam set up.
Oh, yeah, you got all that to do. And that's really been the major, I guess, placement thing to think about. What's interesting, though, is WebberRage is really thinking about his second dwelling. He's definitely debating not placing east. So you have to think he's thinking about going F1. That's the only other... I would think the only other reasonable option for engineers here. Maybe you go in the south, like at H6. It seems really strange to me. I don't think it's really worth it. Maybe you could go... What else could you do that's kind of crazy? G1? G1 would be cool if you started with Temship, but I don't think you're starting with Temship. So this is potential to be a bit spicy, depending on what he does here with the second dwelling. So I can't wait to see. Yeah, I don't know. I like I like Auren's position. I'll have to see where Hefaistos puts his third dwelling too. I'm guessing he might just place on E8 in the center just to try to maximize the leech. It's usually a pretty good strategy. He could place B4 as well to be Auren's, like, I guess to be with Auren there, but it seems a little friendly to be there that quickly. And I don't see, there's no rush for him to get there really. E8 is just such a good hex for Nomads in general, just all the space you get in the map. All the shipping options you get with it is so nice.
All right, I'm paying attention again. WebberRage is unable to be on camera, which is yeah. So I was just trying to. And the other thing that's funny is I don't know like what seat each person's going to be, so I have to move their cameras around in my Zoom room. So I think I've got it right. Okay, yeah. So WebberRage is deliberating on that, and is the third Nomad. Oh my god, do you know what's kind of crazy? This is not going to happen here because Big Building Scroll's not in the game, but I always like love the idea of being Nomads on G4 and being able to get this town where you go G4, G5, G6, G7. Because NGs would rather go up, I believe, here than down, but I don't think we're going to see an early Nomad stronghold, unfortunately.
No, I don't think it would make sense for that. That would be cool. You almost never see that as Nomads.
Yeah.
That would have been very cool.
So Nomads
and
on
so in the end, NGs did go east. They did start neighborless in the east.
Yeah.
Just to point that out.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Now, here's another thing that's kind of funny is even if Nomads are getting to G4 in round three, it still is not really a neighbor for NGs. Like they can't really get next to that. Um,
No, I almost corrected myself because I saw that too. Like I saw, oh, Nomads are gonna go out east when they ship. They'll give NGs a neighbor, and I
and
was
then
like,
it's
wait,
like,
they're not gonna take one neighbor from there. They're just gonna take that one hex.
yeah. Oh, we saw.
Oh,
Nomads didn't take. Okay, we have Temp Ship, then Spade to Nomads, then Lesser took his Power Scroll to get lock up Double Dig, and then NG's on Priest. Wow, interesting.
so I'm really surprised. He immediately single dug E9. Which I
Wow.
guess he's worried about if he left it for Auren, that Auren could beat him there, like because Auren have temp ship, and maybe Auren
Yeah.
could take a priest action and go to two ship. But wouldn't you want Auren there as a neighbor? I know it cuts off your expansion a bit, um, but I don't. I'm surprised because I'm worried about C4. I'm worried Nomads are starting with a spade bonus. I'm worried that Nomads are going to beat them to C4 if, or sorry D4 if NGs aren't careful here. So right away I don't really like that decision by WebberRage. It might pay off. Like he might still get D4, but it makes me very nervous leaving that hex hanging.
Hmm. So I'm not surprised to see. I was gonna say this earlier that like I about the leech between mermaids and nomads. Like I kind of expect that nomads temple on F3 because they're probably only getting 3 hexes here. E6 F3 G2, and so like you don't want to have to bridge. Whereas you can probably work out a town in the west without a bridge, without an SA over there. So, but to your point, the thing is, oh yeah, because they're on dig scroll too. So if they move
Yeah,
before NGs,
that's the thing. Yeah, Nomads have a free spade in hand. Like they just need one more, and they can get a priest and send it to Earth. Like I don't think it's that hard for them to get a second dig before NGs do. I could be wrong. Like
yeah,
maybe not.
the issue,
But
like I don't know if you saying you want Auren on E9 is necessarily right because NGs could do 2 expensive TPs in the east. It's not. It's as long as they're getting enough power in the middle of the board. And I mean, one hex to keep our eyes on actually is I6, the south green, because Auren are probably going to beat NGs there, but that's sort of the key to NGs having any hope of getting to the west. Um,
yeah, I don't. It's true. Do you need to get to the West as NGs? Like, can you just settle for like looking at the track, all those late TP rounds and big building rounds? Can't you just kind of build up a ton late?
yeah, I
And
mean,
just and you can just accept your third on network and kind of just do that.
so let's think
I'm
about
not sure
this.
if it's that big of a difference. I guess.
Let's think about this
And I
for a
guess you're right
second.
with like you're probably right with E9 because that is connection for them too, which they want to make sure they beat Auren in network. And if they just have D6 to connect now, so yeah, no, that doesn't. You're right, and they could also take D6, bridge there, and have that as a neighbor. Like it should be okay for them.
I think that the thing that NGs have going for them, it definitely looks tough. The things that they have going for them are that they kind of have one dig for 2 hexes and 2 spots right now, which is nice going into a dwelling round. So they can dig, right? D7 for. Oh, and they're going to get a cult spade too. So, okay, that's actually, they're going to get the cult spade and put that on D4 to protect it. The issue would. Yes. So they're going to get, as long as they get that cult spade and nomads aren't getting some cult spade that's going to hit D4 before they can cult dig it, which wouldn't that be something? Oh, who took priest? Okay, Auren took priest. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I missed that Edgy's had a priest in hand too. That does change it. Although Hefaistos just took Earth too, so I think he is angling for that cult dig.
Oh my god.
And I also got to point out that Hefaistos is at 1 victory point now. He's taking a lot of leads, which he should be. But,
Oh man.
We're gonna see a game, I think, where you might see him hit. Because it's a round 1 town scoring round. He's not gonna score any points this round. I think he's gonna be at 0 points.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
Which is Beautiful. You don't usually see that.
Oh my god. So
Here
that
it
just
is. Yeah,
became a
he's getting
one
the
for
0
0.
points.
Oh wait, no. No, he's gonna go down to 0 here, is he? This is gonna
Yeah,
take him to
he's gonna
0.
be at 0 points here.
Oh, and it turns everything to a 1 for 0, right? Oh, we did it!
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're at 0 for Nomads. Oh
This
my
is
god, I
beautiful.
don't think I've ever seen Nomads at 0. I've definitely seen Alchemists at 0 and Darklings and Cultists at 0. I don't think I've ever seen. And there's his 1 for 0 from at being at 0 points. This is all part of his plan to get cheaper leech. Oh, Snake Egg, sorry, Alchemist at 0 because people pay all their coins into points.
Mhm.
Just for funsies, I guess. I've seen Alchemists go down. Plus, Alchemists
Yeah,
are
the only time I
awesome.
can remember was I remember a game where Nerdkey was playing Cultist and went down to 0 points. Actually, it was in our TMTL Premier League Season 1. I remember it.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
that's about the only time I've seen it, yeah. And that was with 30-point auctions, and this is with 40-point auctions
That's
now, with factions
crazy.
starting at 40. So
Oh
it's
my
about
god.
10 points down, basically. It's
So,
crazy. I mean, the guts of him to start that low.
so Auren again, like it's pretty okay here
Hmm.
because B5 is very safe, A10 safe, he's gonna Auren looked interesting. I think it's what's he gonna do with the priest? Do you think it's a oh no he used the ship increase. That's okay. So he can go A10. Is he gonna
Okay.
do A10 I6 here? Or is he
Oh,
gonna oh workers and
uh,
coins are still there too.
I mean, he's on 10 ships, so I think he wants to take advantage of it. I would think he'll do that. It's kind of weird because it goes against the track and against like a culty plan, which would be to get a temple up and get cult position. The thing is, the cult rewards aren't that good, so like it does dissuade a culty plan a bit. And
Yeah.
there is ship DP in the game, so he'll score at least with a ship advance.
I think he'll
So
build
it's
I think he'll build A10 and Temple. That's my prediction because he'll keep his one ship and then he can dig H4 and get to I6 with his one ship. And he wants to dig H4 anyway.
yeah, I think you're calling it. I think he's doing
Okay.
exactly that. He just templed for Fire 1. So he got 2 Fire 1s and 2 Earth 2s this game.
Ooh,
Which makes
showdown.
sense. We talked about kind of low economy in the bonus, low economy in the cult rewards. Well, an econ's just good in general, but like it even gives more incentive to take an econ favor.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Um, and you're gonna like you can score a lot these next 3 rounds just building out. So having the resources to build more in those rounds is gonna score you and then help production. So like I think you have to. Um,
Yeah,
so
the
Auren,
snowball is definitely worth it.
so NG's onto Dig Scroll is sweet for them, and they cult spade D4. So this is yeah, this is them. This is the part of the plan that's going to go smoothly. I think it'll be after this that it gets unclear. You know what we might see, and maybe is what we should cheer for, is NG's digging D6 soon. And we may see like 3 bridges with a stronghold uh, with, like 8 structure NGs or something.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm rooting for that.
that would be
that
interesting.
would be that would be great with a round 5 stronghold. Like it feels pretty
Yeah.
natural.
You could maybe have
And
3 bridges up in that stronghold round. Um, he might just like take a round off next round. I'm not sure, and then like if no one passes onto the TP scroll for next round, it would be amazing to do nothing round 3 and just grab TP scroll for round 4.
mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
sorry, I'm getting
Get a
lost
coins
in.
action somewhere in there. Get water 1. Get some TPs up and score a bunch there.
Yeah, and then go
And then hit the stronghold
stronghold.
round 5. Hopefully, if you got the workers to do all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. I hope that happens.
I hope so too. And I gotta say, I was surprised last round Hefaistos passed without getting the Cultig. He could have 5 power priested for it, which might have been worth it. And I know there were tempo issues in terms of, I don't know, he passed and then NG's passed right after. So I don't know if that would have, I don't know, he may have factored that into things. But it was kind of interesting going Earth 2 and not taking that cult dig.
Well, yeah,
And I think
that's
he was getting double dig no matter what, right?
And are you saying like why not fire one then? Like, is that kind of
No, like so. Oh yeah, instead of Earth 2, I think so. I think Fire 1 would be better otherwise. I guess it's debatable.
yeah? I mean, I'm a little bit allergic to five power priests. I just got to tell you, I got to be honest. And I've seen them be very daring and successful in moments, but I have a little bit of a hang up. Now,
Well, it's essentially so I'll say it's essentially a 4 power priest because he's getting 2 power back from the cult immediately.
yeah, no, yeah,
And so it's like a single dig, but you're getting a little bit of cult presence too.
yeah.
It's kind of another way of looking at it. Whether it's like good or not, I have to calculate it more fully. Like, there's a lot of other things to consider with it.
So here's the
But
thing.
he passed really quickly. I don't think I'm not sure if he even considered it or he just kind of maybe blew it off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that like so he got double dig round 2. It's possible that he. Okay, so it looks like Nomads are going for Earth 1 this round.
Yeah.
And
which makes sense. I think that I understand that for sure.
Auren got Priest to Fire, which synergizes with their Fire 1. I wasn't paying attention. When Auren took their favor, could they tell they were going to get Priest to Fire? Well, whatever. Fire 1's good here anyway.
I'm not sure. Good question. I gotta say, these guys are playing fast. Is it just me, or are they
Yeah.
playing really fast?
Well, you and I like to play slow.
I'm having trouble keeping track of all the nuances going on.
Well, yeah, I know. It's a lot of multitasking. So I guess we should keep the play-by-play. So Mermaids landed on Dwelling Scroll and are not taking Earth 1 here. They're single digging F2, building H2.
Yeah, and then next round gonna be building more dwellings out, I'm sure, like at the C1, A4.
Yes. So
D2, that stretch.
Yeah,
kind of a classic Mermaids.
Yeah. That's interesting. So and it looks like Nomads are going for Earth 1 here, and then we'll build one more dwelling this round. So I guess just to return to your 5-power priest question, it's possible that then comes at the cost of like a coins action, but it's not clear that that's going to be the case. But it's possible, right? That like spending so much power could have been a coin and like a coins action. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They would get an extra spade, but I think if they did it, I think they would want to take Fire 1 if they did it, because it's almost like spending 5 coins, if not like 8 coins or whatever, coins action plus the extra coin on that priest.
Yes.
Kind of a weird way of looking at it, but yeah, I don't think but you kind of need Earth to get the cult digs. So maybe it's a good point. Maybe it just doesn't work very well here.
Yeah, and
there's also not like a second Earth reward to hit or anything like that, so maybe it's not that valuable.
Oh, so NG's increased ship. Okay. Huh. Fair enough.
Makes sense, because he's got what, C5 to build dwelling on as well, C2, C5.
Yeah, but he can dig D7 and build C5 anyway. He's on dig scroll.
Yeah, but he needs the shipping for that. I see what you mean. But he can get a 3rd dwelling out, or 6th dwelling, but it doesn't actually produce a worker. So
I see. Yeah,
I guess it's not that valuable with a dwelling round next round too.
But I guess ship scoring's in. So maybe it's like maybe he's starting to size that up as an option for scoring as well.
Mm-hmm. Though it would have been interesting, like just trying not to advance ship and just building bridges instead, and kind of really planning for a round 5 stronghold, like early on in the game.
Right.
And saving your coins for a temple or an expensive TP or something else like that.
Yes.
It's an interesting kind of consideration there.
Because that's what I was that's why I was a little surprised with the ship increases, because like if we're seeing expensive TPs in our future and interest in bridge strategy, then I don't think this fits that plan very well. So
no. This fits more of an expansive approach.
Yeah, not to like hit my head so hard on a reasonable ship. It's reasonable to increase your ship round 2. But yeah, so, and Derange has given us a good think here. He's got a priest in hand. He has an option to pass. I mean,
Yeah,
Is he
what
thinking?
bonus tile would he pass on to
I
if
mean,
he wanted to, like ship VP?
and priest to air is interesting here. No, priest
It
to
is. He also could use the priest as a worker to get a dwelling down just for worker economy,
yeah.
which to me is appealing. I always like that. But the priest to air, yeah, it's just queuing that priest to air looks nice. Other
Hmm.
considerations. So if he passes, he gets a coins action.
True.
He's guaranteed that. Is anyone else passing?
Um,
Matt might be.
mermaids, but they actually can't take coins right now unless they pass on to a power scroll.
Which they would want, right? I'm sure they would take temp ship or ship BP. Be happy with that.
Yeah, so they probably would. I mean, they'd have to burn under 6 then to take coins if I'm looking at this right. Um,
Yeah, which I'm sure he would do.
yeah,
I mean, it's got to be worth it, right?
yeah. I think
A little painful.
I think Matt does want to pass on to ship points because he wants to go to 2 ship and dig C1 is what we are saying.
Mm-hmm. He's already got that priest to water. He doesn't have to worry about that next round. So
Exactly.
yeah, he can safely use that priest for shipping.
Yeah. Ooh, Nomads want that cult power. Give me that. Um.
Give me that power.
Oh. Oh. So NG's did a TP.
So he's going Earth 1 then, right? He's going for a second temple here.
Uh-huh.
That's probably a good move, right? Like, or like certainly it doesn't fit with our whole tall thing, but like it's certainly not a bad move. You get the power from the second temple.
Yes.
It's a great income.
Yeah,
He'll score with dwellings next round.
yeah. It's beautiful because it's kind of economic and scoring. Um and he can build them out. I guess yeah, again, the ship increase confuses me
Yeah,
just a
it's funny with the
pinch.
ship advance, right?
But um but yeah, anywho.
Hmm. Yeah, we do see Matt pass on to the ship VP bonus, so kind of as we predicted. Yeah, his game is going really well. Like it's like, again like a very kind of standard Mermaids game, but that's all they need to do in this setup to do well.
Here's what he wants to do. He's gonna do a 7 dwelling town in the east. That's the plan.
Engizar.
Yeah.
Well, that would be beautiful. I guess you could. Gonna like advanced dig. No, not advanced dig, just probably power dig it all.
Oh man. So Auren
I'd love to see that.
Auren get the dwelling scroll for this dwelling round. Um so far so good on the plan to do very little round 3 and jump on TP round 4, except the people who are taking Earth 1 this round can't really do that. So I'm gonna guess it's gonna be deranged that is gonna do that, unless someone's gonna just sit on TP this round, round 3, just to block people.
Well, the range doesn't really have neighbors for TPs though. Until Nomads are at B4. Like right now, he literally has no neighbors for a cheap TP. Oh, I guess Nomads gonna be in the south. Nah, okay, he'll still have at least a couple TP spots there. That's probably enough.
Yeah, if Nomads are on temp, if they go to pass on to temp ship, which I think they want, then they might build before this coming round. But I guess if Dig scrolls like, there,
even if they don't, he'll have 2 neighbor spots still. The range, I don't know when he's gonna double dig B5, but I don't. Maybe Nomads. I don't know. Would Nomads care about B5? Would Nomads try to cut off Auren there, cut off their town?
No.
Kind of depend to see how things play out. Like it's hard to say right now.
I don't think so. That would have to be like a stronghold action.
No.
That would have to be like a stronghold action round 5, I think. So I think it's gonna be Auren doing very little round 3 and passing on to the TP scroll. Oh yeah, there's D6.
We do see it. Nice.
Okay.
Well, there's another neighbor for Auren, so we're just talking about that. So now it's Nomad's getting to B5 isn't as much of a I guess, swing in that sense. Yeah, that's nice. I continue to like Derange's position. I don't know if I'm overvaluing it, but
no, I agree.
I don't know.
it's just so much to make up as nomads, but and like he got 2 3 spots, both give rewards. Um, I think it's interesting.
Can he
He'll
get water cult rewards? Probably not.
probably not. I mean, he'll have one priest. Yeah, he would have to do something weird. So he's not going to build as many dwellings. His points lead is going to diminish quite a
Well, just
bit after this round, after this coming round, right? Because 2 people are going to be building dwellings with Earth 1 in a dwelling round, and he's building not much in that dwelling round.
no. I mean, he could get. I mean, he'll definitely get one dwelling, maybe two if he wants to hard dig. And he's on dwelling VP, so he's still scoring some points from it. Yeah, I guess not a ton. You're right.
Ooh! Oh my
But if he hits
god.
round 4 TPs pretty hard,
He snapped the
then he can make
bridge to
two.
prevent the NG's
Okay.
bridge strategy. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around.
Huge swing.
Yeah, that's it's interesting thing to prioritize here, no? I guess he's already counting the race to to Key Town, it must be. Right? Is that what that is?
Sorry, what did you say? I think my internet's being a little funny. I got
Oh, okay.
cut off there a bit.
I was just a little surprised at like, racing to this bridge action. But my interpretation of that is that Derange is planning to play like 8 structure Auren, and he's like, I need the 2 key town. Um, and so he's just like keeping an eye on everybody and making sure that he towns first because there's no town round later. So nobody has a reason to like hold off on it.
No, and I guess who else would want it? I guess Mermaids would consider taking it, or Nomads for that matter. Yeah, it looks pretty good for Nomads if they could get it.
Mm,
But when is he has to build a sanctuary? It's not gonna be till round 5. I don't think there's any way deranged towns until round 5.
yeah, that's
It's
what.
kind of a funny thing with like early dwelling rounds, though, is that no one really wants a town early because everyone wants to expand and kind of get all their dwellings out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we'll see the first town formed in round 4, probably.
Mm-hmm.
If that, like maybe not till round 5 for anyone. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that'll be something to keep our eye on, right? Why would
Okay.
I say that? He built a sanctuary.
Yeah. So I was wondering if that's what this was. So for water 1, and then he'll go priest to water and get these water rewards.
Oh, okay.
Um, okay. I was curious if he, yeah, had some sort of essay early plan. Huh. Okay.
Hmm. So his plan is clearly to priest to water, build a dwelling, and hopefully pass in the TP tile. Like that would
Yes.
be the dream for Auren here.
Yes, yes. In fact, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know if they're getting that. Because Nomads have a dwelling to build, then they have the option to pass at any point, and that TP tile looks juicy for Nomads combined with the coins action.
Yeah.
Um, I think they would like that,
Oh, he
right?
does. Yep, yep. He chose there were 2 dwellings he could have done and he chose not to. Yeah, cuz that's real good. Interesting. Hmm. Wow. Okay.
Oh well, yeah, I'm a little behind in it. Okay, wow, he didn't even use temp ship for that southern dwelling.
Yeah, he didn't use cuz I think he just saw like if I can get this um with a coins action. Sheesh. Yeah, does he and is he just gonna skip he just builds out like
That's
4 TPs? Do you think? Like he can just not take water 1 and
I
just
guess so. Can he afford to like? Oh, he might rather sanctuary for water 1 and then do 2 TPs in the center to get a town. Maybe get a coin town and then build 2 more TPs. Like I think that might be stronger. Like the water 1 points seem really appealing.
Interesting.
It's just funny that so he's passing up on 2 or 4 points if Hefaistos by not building these dwellings, which I know isn't a lot, but especially when you're starting so low on points, like I feel like any opportunity where you're passing up points and a bit of economy, he's passing up a worker early.
Yeah.
Like that feels so painful to me.
I know.
I don't think anyone was passing. Like I don't think the range was gonna pass there.
Yeah, right. Like you
Maybe
think
I'm wrong.
I think he
Maybe he
could
would
have.
have.
Yeah, no. I think the range clearly wanted to put priest to water. Um, right? Like that felt like the water one telegraphed that a little bit. And mermaids have tons of stuff to do. I wasn't paying close attention to NG's, like what they had left in hand, but it seemed like they had stuff to do. So I feel like he could have gotten one more down, but who knows? NG's are gonna go for these water
Yeah, I just had a
rewards also, it looks like.
Yeah, they're sneaking those last 2 priests there. There's no competition. And they got a cult step as well, which I mean they could have passed up on. They didn't have to use, but yeah, they had that as an option in their hand. So what are they gonna have 2 temples, 5 dwellings after this round? It's not bad. And mermaids are gonna have so Matt right now has temple 8 dwellings. It's gonna be yeah, I guess temple 8 dwellings or temple TP and 7 dwellings. He's in a pretty good spot, no?
Yeah,
Would you say?
I would say it's either mermaids or Auren right now.